Happy Saturday. Hope you guys are having an awesome Saturday. I got some little tidbits of information. And like I said, if I get little information, I'm gonna give it to you. Just like X. What is up, Finn fans? We're going to be talking about a few things in today's video episode. I don't do episodes because I've been doing this for 5 years. I'd have so many episodes. But in this video today, we're going to be talking about a few things. The safety position, of course, Dalvin Cook, you can tell by the title, but it's a little surprising and little tidbits here and there from Barry Jackson. But before we jump into that, first and foremost, I have to shout out a new patron. And that patron is William Reynolds. Thank you so much for joining the Patreon. Again, if you'd like to join the Patreon, there's a link below. If you'd like to become a member, it's the join button next to the subscribe button. I'm thinking for training camp, the patrons are going to get like some extra footage and stuff if I can get my hands on it. I haven't decided yet, but if you want to join, it's the link below. Don't feel like you have to, but if you want to. But yeah, that's all I got. And then again, if you want to sign up for the giveaway, which will be Monday the 17th, I got 3 tickets. 3 pairs of tickets, so 3 people are going to win 2 tickets. Top link in the description. So far, we're almost at 400 people signing up, so it's a lot. A lot of you guys want those tickets to the Falcons at Miami first preseason and game. So let's jump into this Mama Jam. We'll start with the first and foremost thing. Alec Ingold. Okay, he was on Sirius XM NFL radio, and he talks about the addition of Dalvin Cook, and he said, this is from Alec Ingold, Dolphins fullback, man, we've got a plethora of backs right now, especially with our second round pick, Devon. We've got Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, Myles Gaskin, Savon Ahmed. We've got some dogs here. So having Dalvin Cook in the mix, that competition breeds excellence, man. You want as much good quality backs as you can possibly have, especially in our offense when guys can really make something happen with it. You can get the ball, you can get touches, you can touch it a million different ways. Pause on that. You've got out of the backfield, you've got in the backfield, outside zone, inside zone. We got to run some routes. More backs, give me all the backs. Can we have 15 running backs in the training camp room? I would love it. So Alec Ingold is all for adding Dalvin Cook to the Miami Dolphins, and I'm pretty sure all of the Miami Dolphins are down for that, especially Jalen Ramsey, who's also played at Florida State, and a lot of these guys want Dalvin Cook in. But I got no news, any updates on like when. He said the 17th. That is a week from Monday. We'll see. We'll see. I will say this, and I talked about this in previous videos, but that whole thing about Mike Florio was 11 days ago about the gaining steam or whatever from the Jets. So we will see. Now on to some news and note some little tidbits. This is from Barry Jackson. He said, chatter on how the Dolphins have handled safety and tidbits of new information. So he says the Dolphins thought enough of Brandon Jones that they were never inclined to offer a sizable contract to Jordan Poyer or any other free agent safeties. So the Dolphins essentially feel strong enough about Brandon Jones and how he played in the past and all that stuff and how he'll fit in this defensive scheme that they didn't feel like a need to, give Jordan Poyer a type of contract to bring him to Miami. So, that whole thing with Jordan Poyer and going to Miami was a possibility, but I bet you they offered him kind of, Elliott. Instead, they got Detroit's Elliott, a 1-year, $1.77 million, not surprising considering the safety market is saturated. Elliott was limited throughout the offseason program because of a shoulder injury. According to a source, the expectation is that he should be fine for the season, though Elliott was part of the Lions secondary that permitted 4,179 passing yards. His metrics weren't bad at all. Pro Football Focus ranked him 44 out of 88 safeties last season, including 43rd against the run. He yields a 92.5 passer rating compared to 118 for Eric Rowe, who's now with the Carolina Panthers. Elliott allowed 17 of 21 passes, average 35. It's a little high. Elliott and Brandon Jones were former college teammates at Texas, and their battle for the starting job along Javon Holland should be very competitive. Jones ranked among the best blitzing safeties in football, a skill that seemingly isn't as important in the transition from blitz-heavy Josh Poyer to more zone-heavy Vic Fangio. Jones has 5 sacks. That's the thing that worries me about Brandon Jones. He's not good coverage safety. So we'll see how that all pans out. Again, in 2021, Jones permitted 114.2 passer rating in his coverage area. Last season, it was 89.3 with 21 completions on 29 targets, but no touchdowns. He's not great in zone coverage. The problem isn't much of a disparity between Jones and Elliott in coverage skills, and both figure to get play time. Did defensive coordinator Vic Fangio tell Elliott if he would have a chance to start? Vic Fangio is a very intelligent football coach and a very intelligent defensive coordinator, Elliott said after he signed. So I'm sure he has plans on what he wants to do with us. But I mean, when I come in, I talk to him. I mean, I knew I was going to compete. It's the NFL when you've all got to compete and nothing is given to you. Nothing's going to be handed to you. So I came here to compete. I know what I bring to the table, and I know how hard I'm going to work, so the results will show. Safety Elijah Campbell's skill set to fit the defense, and he could push for snaps. And head coach McDaniel loves Ron McKinley's football acumen. At the very least, it's a young safety room with upside. We'll see. We'll see how this all pans out. But, they, like he said, they thought so highly of Brandon Jones that they probably offered Jordan Poyer a type of contract that they gave to Elliott, which was nothing. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how that all pans out. I don't know. We'll get to the safety. That'll be this week. I got 3 videos this week for Camp Battle. This upcoming week, we got linebackers, corners, and then we're going to end with safeties. And then the following week is rookies going to report. But we'll see how that all pans out. And then he has a little this or that. He says, though his work was uneven in off-season practices open to reporters, one encouraging thing about new backup quarterback Mike White is that he played pretty well before his rib injury against Buffalo. He tried to play through those rib injuries against the Bills and Seahawks, but struggled. He said it was crazy. At the time when it happened in Buffalo, it hurt. But I kind of was just like, all right, maybe I just bruised my rib or something, or I'm just sore, and it was cold out, so that wasn't helping. And then when I got the news that I did break 5 ribs or 4 ribs, whatever the number was, I was kind of like, I didn't believe it. I was like, it doesn't hurt that bad. And then a week of having lay off for 2 weeks it didn't hurt that bad. And then a week, having to lay off for 2 weeks and a week of just not doing anything, it greatly tightened up. And then trying to throw through it was really painful. Every throw hurt. I mean, I'm proud of it because I didn't tap out, which sometimes you got to tap out because you're going to get yourself more hurt if you try to fight through things. And I proved to the guys that quarterbacks can be tough too. And hopefully my toughness isn't in question, but it's a good learning experience. And if anything, I'm just happy to prove that I'm not just one of those little guy quarterbacks that people make fun of all the time. We'll see, man. He might be a game player like Matt Moore was. Matt Moore was not a practice quarterback. He was more of a game player. But I'm not hearing good things about him. I'm not hearing good things about him at all. The whole backup quarterback situation worries me, but I hope and pray we don't need to use them. And then the final thing Barry Jackson talks about, and it's what I talked about yesterday with the signing of Cam Smith. He says the Dolphins still have more than $12 million in cap space after signing Cam Smith to a 4-year, $7.1 million. They have $12.6 million. They can use much of that cap space on Dalvin Cook and perhaps a veteran backup defensive tackle, or carry most of it into next season. They're already more than $32 million over the cap in 2024, which will require hard decisions next offseason. Yeah, I kind of talked about all that if they're in a win now mode. So if you want to see more of that, you can go check that ish out. But yeah, I just thought, I wanted to make this video because, for one, I thought it was very interesting that Alec Ingold was like, add more running backs, keep adding more, and we'll, competition, breeds whatever, and just keep doing it until we find the best guy. I don't see anything wrong with that. Some people are like, we don't need to add Dalvin Cook. We need offensive linemen. And I've said this 1,000 times, but I'll say it again. If they were going to add offensive linemen, they would have done it by now. It seems like they're pretty content with who we have on the offensive line and the competition. They need defensive tackle depth. I agree. They could do both, because you're not going to get a starting caliber defensive tackle that you're going to have to pay $10, $12 million. We need depth other places. I agree. But they could do both. And they also can restructure Wilkins, give him an extension, Connor Williams, and even Robert Hunt and Zach Sealer, and save $14 million. I've said this thousands of times. So you can still add Dalvin Cook. Why not add more to make your team better? And then with the Jordan Poyer and the safety situation, yeah, I didn't think they were going to. How much is Jordan Poyer? Let me look up how much he is getting with the Buffalo Bills. That is what I find very interesting. So $4.8 million he's getting with Buffalo, and then they have an out. It's essentially a 1-year contract, and then they can cut him the following year and save $5.5 million. So he got a $4.8 million contract, because it's 2 years, $12.5 million. But again, they have an out, and it's $7 million guaranteed. So he's getting 4.8 this year, and then they signed Elliott for 1.7. That's what they were looking to do. They weren't going to throw 4.8 million at Jordan Poyer, who is 32, going to be 33 years old, and has 1 foot out the door. Makes sense. It makes sense. But comment below. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think about Alec Ingold saying he wants to add Dalvin Cook? What do you think about the fact that the Dolphins feel comfortable with their safeties that they have, that they didn't want to overpay or didn't want to give Jordan Poyer too much money? What's your thoughts on Mike White showing his toughness? And is he on the field guy, not a practice guy? Comment below, and I'll see you guys Monday with the next video. Again, unless I think of something or news comes out. But like usual, stay classy. FN top.